have interactions with live animals, you never know what's going to go down. That's what's going to happen today. And I have the pleasure of hanging out with Mary Lloyd, medium, animal communicator. She does mediumship readings for people, land, animals, and the beyond. And if I haven't introduced myself and you're new to the channel, my name is Jamie Butler. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. Today, I'm in the guest bedroom hanging out with my ferrets, Lemon and Lime. Okay, they're not mine, they're my daughter's. And we are all three going to be talking to Mary Lloyd. She's hanging out over in Denver, Colorado. Mary, how you doing?
Hi. Hello, Luminaires.
I'm so happy you're here with me. And I'm going to give you straight up permission to tell me if the interaction with animals today is just super fun or super annoying and in the way. And I will put them away. Mwah. But
Love having guest hosts.
I figured you would, especially these, because you're so in tune with animals. And I definitely want to hear about how you've developed a lifelong passion for them. And I would like to learn a little bit more about your energy-centric skills with animals, land, migration, kind of, I call it the heartbeat of the earth. That's really where you resonate. So please enlighten me.
Absolutely. Thank you. I've always been drawn to animals. I was that kid that was sitting out in the yard close to the tree, talking and playing with the squirrels, and my parents screaming, "They're going to bite you." But no, I still played with them, and I just gravitated to anything that would dealt with animals or nature. Um, that's how I grew up. So as I was growing up and people were doing other things, like talking about, other kids and, play dates and whatnot, I just hung around the animals. And as I got into, I guess it was high school, maybe about 16, I had opportunity to have an impromptu sit down with Jane Goodall. And so we had a 1 hour one-on-one where she gave me some advice on education and career paths and just immersing myself with animals as a professional uh, pathway. And so I went to school. I got degrees in animal behavior, and that translated into a nearly 30-year career as a wildlife and natural resource professional. So I have been around and working with and just interacting with animals, both personally and professionally, my entire life. And that's just my home. And I'm so excited to bring that interaction to others. I know a lot of people love animals. I'd love to share those great connections. And I also like to teach them how to deepen their connection, their understanding, um, their relationship with either their pets, their either present or past, or even nature and wildlife around them. So that's just kind of my jam. I that's more of what I've been doing in my normal life. Um, I've always talked to animals. Now, energy centric, that's more of a new thing for me. It wasn't until, oh gee, a little over 4 years ago that I actually started hearing voices saying, uh, write things out and also meditate. So I began to write things out, and it turned into what I've come to know as auto writing. I learned how to start meditating, even though I couldn't even spell the word. And at that time, I was actually grieving the loss of somebody very close to me. And one day I was sitting on the couch, um, just sobbing, and I looked up and I saw a full body apparition of my loved one and a young gentleman that I came to know as my guide. And I heard the words, "Are you ready to work?" So I literally got off the couch, and within a couple hours, I signed up for Jamie, your mediumship level 1 class. And that's really the beginning of the rest of the story.
What? Holy goosebumps.
Yeah.
Wow, Mary. You seem pretty sane to have an experience like that. Like, how did you manage? That's a 0 to 60.
It is on the awareness scale, but when I look back, so I've always I've always heard other voices that weren't in the room or anywhere close. You know, animals literally having a voice talking to me, that was normal. I've also always had the experience of when somebody I know is about ready to pass, just before they pass, they literally show up at the end of my bed and we have talk or we talk. That was just how I grew up. And I thought everybody did it. So it's normal to me, but to actually put words and frame it as energy centric or anything else, that's the new part for me.
How was it finding out that other people didn't do that?
I'm still finding that part out because when I interact with a lot of people, I'm like, oh yeah, no, you got those little nuggets in you, those little seeds, and we just need to germinate those. So the awareness is just not up to the level where they're acting upon it, but I do interact with a lot of people that I hope that they learn to experience the more that's out there because it's awesome.
It is very awesome. And I'm going to take a wild guess. It's why you've shifted the dedication in your life over towards helping people reconnect to their guides, higher self, to the voices of the life on earth, the animals, the land. It's a wild guess,
Absolutely.
but what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's one of those things where there's so much more interactions, and it's not, I won't say overwhelming, but it's more rich, more layers, where you can find out more information about yourself and the life around you. And I really hope that people can learn to tap into that richness because it truly blossoms your life. So
No, I'm right behind you in that one. I feel that I feel like this skill that we're talking about, the one that you were so lucky to grow up in and recognize that you gravitated more towards animals. My big opinion on that is that animals are better than people. They're better people than we are because they're more authentic and they're more honest in their communication and they are exactly who they say they are. Their emotions
absolutely.
are true. They hate you, they love you, they're frustrated, they're whatever, they express it right away. They don't hold it back for like something, you know?
Absolutely. It's interesting because in both my academic and professional career and the energy centric perspective, both of them I use the same thing to evaluate, and that's what I call the first step. So it's the first step of a reaction. When humans take a first step, when they have a reaction, maybe it's to something that was said to them or they experience around them, they always think about that next first step. Whereas animals, they react. It's
Mhm.
pure and authentic, just as you stated, and you can actually understand the animal a lot more by evaluating that first step, which direction, how quickly they take the step, how quickly they go from that step to the next step. And so that first step is also another way to, I guess, become aware of the differences between humans and animals. So,
Oh, there are so many differences.
oh yeah.
Yeah, the authentic being Lori calls these guys floor noodles. So Lori, Look at your floor noodle for you.
I love it. I
This
love
is
it.
Lemon. And Willow, I mean, just want to backtrack and ask this. Willow Pierce is here, and you were mentioning doing work with animals, alive and transcend. Do you work with animals who are missing? Willow has a dog that's ran off. It's been 11 days. Is that some work that you do as well?
I do it, and I do it rarely. But, first of all, Willow, um, they're still going. They're still moving. That's what I get with a quick check-in. To answer your question, Jamie, I do that work, but I also find it the hardest work to do because missing, whether it be people or animals, it's all the emotions rolled up into one. It's grief, it's fear, it's hope, it's anticipation, all packed together so tightly, and it's difficult to work with. But I love helping people um, connect with whatever human or animals that are, you know, missing.
I'm reminded of one session, Mary, which was an emotion you didn't list, which was pure excitement and completely thrilled. And it was a cat that got out. It was an indoor cat. And I
Hmm.
felt so bad for this family. This cat was so happy. And I was telling them, if the cat could write back to you and just be like, day one of freedom. This is what I saw, and I bought a tchotchke to mail home to you. I miss you dearly. See you in 3 weeks. It was just like this excitement where they were scared. Sure enough, 3 weeks. Cat came back, totally plump, healthy, at the time of his life. It was awesome. But like, there's some of those emotions mixed in it too. Rarely, but possibility.
Absolutely. Yeah, it truly runs the gamut. And we just have to be ready for all of them.
Oh, so many people are agreeing with the statement of how animals are more pure and more authentic. So, shout out to you, Katie Wayne. Animals are way better. Digital Soldier 17 says they're unconditional. Of
Absolutely.
course.
Absolutely. And it's that's one thing. Of course, I worked with animal, but another thing that people don't realize, the land and the naturescape on the land
Yes.
is even more so. Um, a lot of times, some of the interactions are more blunt, or not blunt, more succinct when you're talking to some trees or waterways and such than even you get with animals. But the insights and conversation that you can have is mind blowing. And that's an aspect that I'm actually kind of surprised more people don't do. You've kind of enlightened me, Jamie, on that there's not a whole lot of people that uh, read or work with the land in an energy centric manner. So again, I am honored to help people with those connections.
So, I have a few questions around that. Curiosities in my head. When you work with the land, the way that you work with the land, does the earth come across as one voice or multiple voice? And are there certain characteristics of energy that you're tapping into that the earth expresses, like geolines, ley lines, um, like visual topography kind of landscapes? Do they have individual voices or is it more of a whole?
It depends on the land. Usually, it's like with mediumship when you have multiple participants, whether they be guides or loved ones. There's usually one that speaks up the most, and or so it depends on the land on how many voices or interactions, the diversity of interactions you get. I like to think of when I'm talking with the land, not that I'm talking to a set of rocks over here, or a meadow over here, or a pond over here. They truly are individuals, um, beings of light that are standing in the room with me, and we are having a conversation. So it really depends on the land. It depends on the inquiry or the messages being given, on whether or not there's a singular voice or multiple voices. Topography, I actually work with topography quite a bit. That kind of goes with my
Your
working with
daytime job.
animals. Yeah, my daytime job. And so you get those multitudes of layers, and that's why it's so fascinating.
I have a few questions, but do you mind throwing out the title of your daytime job? Because I really like it.
For the past 30 years, I have been a wildlife and natural resources professional. So it's a real paying gig. It's kind of rare compared to most professions. And I've been blessed to get into that and do that for the past, like I said, 30 years.
30 years, Mary.
That's where all the white hair comes from.
Your hair is gorgeous. Dr. Brooke Higgins was saying, look at those silver hairs. They're just beautiful. Um, Man, that is a lot of time to focus on animals, the security of them, documenting them, their migration, noticing the land, what is it offering, being aware of the weather patterns, just all of it for such a large territory, right?
Uh,
Because you just don't do Denver.
no, I do the entire state of Colorado. It's funny because when I'm looking back on what that time has been, and especially my interactions, my energy centric interactions over that time, I can go back to distinct meetings or phone calls where I've actually told my peers, no, 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 that moose that you're looking for is in the next drainage over. Go fly there. Lo and behold, I'll be sent back pictures of that's the animal that they're looking for. So apparently, I have been using my skills, my other skills, in my day job quite a while. I just haven't been telling people. So
What, did they just think you're magic?
yeah, they said I'm very perceptive. So okay, perceptive, intuitive, whatever.
Yeah, we'll take that. Very perceptive. Um, so we're jumping back between the animals and the land. Since we're lingering on the animals right now, there was a question from Jessica McRae, and she's saying that her neighbor had a beloved cat that's been gone for a week, and when she taps in, she could hear water around the cat and feel that it can't find its way back home. And she's just simply asking, like, what would you do next if you lose the connection with the animal? Do you have a certain approach that you do to connect to animals?
So it depends on the situation. In this case, there's a, a more fear than excitement of being on the lam, I guess you'd say. And so I try to walk into the path that the animal is in. That way I can help walk them back out if truly they are unsure or even scared. That way we can physically reconnect them and their loved ones more quickly. So I do a technique where it's literally walking into their location, hopefully by the pathway that they use, or sometimes it's the pathway that's um, most the quickest to get to them. But that's the technique that I will use. Of course, during that time, I am communicating actively with the animal and just talking to them. It's much like talking to a child that's lost in a store. You know, how are you doing? Do you do you need a drink? What's your mommy look like? That kind of stuff, just to calm them down. Because once you get them calm, then more information comes and they become more receptive. Again, that first step in that state, their first step in that state, is a little bit apprehensive. So you want to get them to a more natural first step so you can get that reconnection a lot quicker.
That's really cool. I've never thought about using that real soft, gentle approach like with a lost kid. But that's really, if you maintain that level of questioning, that's quick and easy connection and feedback with animals.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Another thing that I really love working with animals, and a lot of people who connect with animals or be able to tap in, animals respond to light. And you hear the story about, helping somebody cross over. We can kind of do the same thing with animals. It's kind of like the little pin lights in cats or the little laser lights in cats. So you can do a little beam of light right next to them and entice them in using the energy and the light. You can also use that to turn an animal a different way. I personally used that when I was being approached by a mountain lion in the woods, where I
Like,
put up kind of a bit of light and kind of pushed them away using that. So think of like a little cat laser pointer. We can do it right there in the moment or even remotely. So another trick.
can I just say out loud, you just said when I was approached by a mountain lion. I don't think I'll ever be able to say that sentence in my entire life. And I'm kind of grateful that maybe I'm not going to be able to say that sentence, but what in the crazy? I'm looking at you right now. I'm going to guess it turned out just fine.
Yeah, we only got within 10 feet of each other.
What the
Yeah.
what?
It was great. It was amazing. It was only myself and my husband, and it was a beautiful fresh snow. We were the only one within 5 miles, and a young teenage mountain lion walked up on us, and big old snowflakes falling down. It was like a Christmas card setting, and it's like, yeah, we're not going to enjoy this. We're going to split up this team and leave. So
Oh
there's
my god. My heart is racing listening to you say this. I wasn't even there. Hmm.
yeah.
I want to dance back to the land question because I kind of wasn't done digging because I find it so fascinating. And I love how you described the many voices and how you look at everything. But why would somebody come and say, Mary, I need a mediumship reading for my land? Is it because they're going to buy some property and put a house there, or is the house already there and they're trying to figure out the energy movement? Like, what are some reasons why people would reach out for that?
It can run the whole gamut. And just like, let me go to grab a drink of water.
Do. I'm shouting out to Erica News. I love your question. I'm totally going to be asking that. Like, what's the reason for all the wildfires this year? Just putting that one like in the pit. It's coming up next.
There you go. So I've had people come to me when they're looking to purchase a property or decide on which property of multitudes to purchase. People that are um, doing extension on their house or a barn or something like that. So they're building on a property. Um, we've even done it where they're having issues with like their horses not going into one pasture. So how do we distribute the animals more evenly on the property, both their companions and wildlife? So it runs the gamut.
Yeah, I never would have thought, especially in a large farm setting, because here I am floating over in the city of Atlanta, to be able to migrate or move animals from the pasture or bring them into certain locations. That's just not something I even go to.
It's just like moving furniture on a carpet. You
Oh
move it
my God.
around. It is. You wear out the carpet if it's being overused. So it truly is a thing. And the more mindful we are of those moving the furniture around, the quicker the nature can heal, the land can heal, because it will heal itself and regenerate. But if you keep using it, the scarring will deepen and it'll just be harder for things to grow back.
That's very true. So, what do you think about Erica's question? Like, what's the reason for the wildfires this year?
Ah, man,
And in
man.
Colorado, you guys got hit really, really bad this year.
Yes, I was. I was a little bit close to that, not physically but professionally. Um, Wildfires and just extreme climate events. That is a product of our history, man's history with the land. And we're just getting to that tipping point where um, think of it like somebody that's been saying we need to change or we need to get off this road. And they keep saying it, but we're really not aware of it. And then eventually they're screaming it and they're saying it more and more often until we finally pay attention and realize we should get off this road. That's kind of what the land and the climate are doing. We've had these events for many decades, and they're just getting more extreme and more frequent. And it's kind of like the land and the climate yelling at us saying, stop it, get off this road, so we can rebalance everything around us. It's just kind of where we're at right now.
I'm having quite a lot of activity over here. So, I wanted to ask this. Can people come to you and ask about animals that they've come across in the wild? Like Amanda Martin is saying she came across a wolf. She had a wolf sighting. And it was amazing because I was in my hometown and the roads were full of snow and I followed him and he went in my best friend's yard that passed a few years ago and we just sat and connected with the wolf.
Yeah, so wolves and different animals do have different connections, and that was definitely some energy with your friend. Um, Wolves are definitely one of those species that's extremely connected, and it's kind of the animal totems and spirit animals,
Good.
right?
I was
So
going to ask you about that. Go ahead.
I fortunately I don't know a lot about those. I read and talk to the animals. I listen to the animals, so I'm not going to be really good at answering, what the spirit totems or animal totems, that kind of stuff are. But I can see that there's a direct connection in um, what people refer to as, this totem means this or this animal means that. It is their makeup. In that interaction, like I said, it was truly um, a nature's connection with your friend. So that was really cool. And there's less than 1% of the population will ever meet a wolf in the wild or even living. So feel
Amanda.
yourself feel yourself as very blessed. I'm jealous.
Wow. Says the woman who's had the past 30 years on the land. That's crazy. Even Chiara was laughing from Italy. She was like, what do you mean 30 years? Did you start when you were 12? You can't comprehend that you've been doing it that long.
I have been doing that long. Yeah.
Do you believe that spirit can embody animals? Like, do you know what I mean? Do I need to be more clear in my question?
Uh, in the reference of incarnations, um, absolutely. In the reference of helping to guide us, those guided messages that we get, whether it be a license plate that says something or on a billboard that you just passed and it's telling you to do whatever your mom always told you, that kind of stuff. So animals can also embody um, those guidance from spirit, and we have loved ones that reincarnate as animals. So they are part of us. They are part of our world. They are part of our life and our story. And uh, I really hope that people realize that they're just not companions, they are partners in our lives.
I agree. And Patricia Parker says, "You're the lady I've been looking for." Smiley face. She says, "I would love to reach out to you. Like, you will understand an earth animal issue I'm trying to help fix."
I'd love to.
Patricia, I would agree. Like, she'd be your lady. Absolutely. Wonderful responses. I'm behind in reading them all. They're just so great. I know that you have been in this world for a really long time, but you're now just finding the time.
Mhm.
They're just horsing around in their own cage.
They're doing awesome.
Sorry, just imagine it's music. But now you're finding time to actually do sessions more and more. And you have been so wonderful to offer a very sweet discount. And I'd love for you to take time to talk about it to the Lumineers.
So, as part of our graduation gift to you, I'm offering a 20% discount for any sessions that's scheduled uh, through me or through my website. Between now and the end of December, the schedule can be into 2021, but the discount will be applied when you schedule the session. So 20% discount up until the end of December. If you want to gift um, a session, please leave or send me an email or leave a note on the contact form. My email is info@marylloyd.com, and I will be happy to work with you to get you a gift certificate so you can gift a session to someone. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, and actually Twitter also. I don't post a whole lot because I do have this day job still going, but I will post um, little stories and messages with spirit and animals, and it's a great way to connect. Please reach out at any time. I'd love to connect with you.
And she means that. This is the most wonderful thing working with this round for the JBM mentorship happened to be all women. So working with a group of women that do what they say they do, and they are who they say they are, and there's no gray area. They don't overextend themselves or over describe themselves. They don't say yes to something they don't feel drawn to do. It's been so enlightening to hang out with you guys. And for you, Mary, watching you be able to come out and help so many people with not dealing with, working with and understanding land and animals, the respect, the overall picture. I mean, there's so many of us that are so talented and we have these niches, healing for health, or working with, for me, I work with people who've crossed over. So my niche really isn't the angels or ascended masters or bigger things. It's those who've transitioned. For some reason, that's my sweet spot. Ghostesses, bring them on. Like, that's me. Got it. Do it. And so I share that because I have this niche. And we see so many others who are really good in their spots, but sometimes we need that person to come in and put the big bow on everything and say, okay, global picture, guys, we gotta hone down, look at the earth. We gotta look at the energy of the land. We gotta read what else is happening. And now let's put that niche in that mix and see how that works. And in my eyes, that's you.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, you've taught me that we can talk to dead people, um, but I turn that around and um, let everybody know we can listen to animals and the land and everything else around us. And that's where we really get that wisdom and that connection. When we try to talk to animals or talk to the land, doesn't start off so comfortably. So let's start to listen first, and that will come into being a conversation that we can just carry on with them. So it's a little different approach.
So I realize I've kept you a little over in what I agreed with, but I have a question I love asking people. And it's that golden nugget question. Is there a ritual, a saying, a focus? Is there something that you do in your life that is that piece de resistance that keeps you grounded or keeps you enlightened in your everyday path? And if you do have something and you'd like to share it, we'd love to hear it.
It's always exploring. It doesn't matter what is, if it's an individual or situation, just keep exploring. That's where we keep broadening our horizons, our understanding, our awareness. And that's where we learn. And that's where our world grows and the interactions come together and the connections come together. So I love to explore and ask questions and really find new things out. And I hope that you do too. And if so, let's come on and let's connect. And so we can explore what's really out there and what you're focused on. So that's my nugget.
I love your nugget. Thank
Before
you.
we sign off, can I say one thing?
Yeah, please.
I know that people have been watching my peers in the class, and I am going to voice exactly what they said about this mentorship program. If you are called to this, believe me, it's going to be the best thing that you will experience. It is lovingly structured, but there's a gentleness and individuality that comes over it, that you go at your own pace, that you find out what gravitates and sits with you most. And that's where your personal growth really comes in. So if you are called, whether it be to the upcoming group or the one after that or the one after that, I truly, truly encourage you to sign up. And if you need some extra encourage, give me a holler and I'll talk you through it.
I'm loving you so much. Thank you. I'm squeezing you from Atlanta. Thank you for taking the time to say that. And the time just to sit with me today and chat, about yourself. It's really vulnerable to get up and get on video to hundreds of people, and it's going to be watched over thousands of times, and just to sincerely say who you are and what you do and put it out there. So hip, hip, hooray, Mary Lloyd Medium.com.
Thank you. Bye, Lumineers.
To all the Luminaires out there watching, please give yourself permission, follow through. Does something resonate with you? Something ping with you? Did you just go, oh, wow, I didn't think about it that way. I would love to know more. Do the research. Follow her. Mary Lloyd Medium on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as well, and marylloydmedium.com website. Just put yourself out there. She has wonderful person, and she's giving you a coupon for the holidays. It is capital JBM. You can use that when you check out with her services, 30-minute or a 60-minute session. Thank you again, Loomies. Remember, this is not woo-woo. It's true. It's true. We'll get the hang of it. Thank you, Mary. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.